Eat less, own less, want less. Sounds peaceful, right? But what if I told you that the idea of being frugal, of living with less, was once used not to free people, but to control them? Are you truly choosing a minimalist lifestyle, or are you just adapting to a system that leaves you no choice? In this video, we'll dive into the hidden history of minimalist finance, expose how it's been weaponized, and show you how to actually use it as a tool for freedom, not survival. We're talking medieval Europe, a time when most people didn't choose to live with less. They were born into it and told it was holy. Minimalism by design or by oppression. Back in the 14th century, if you were a peasant, you probably owned one set of clothes, slept on straw, and hoped you didn't starve that winter. And guess what the church told you? Blessed are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Yeah, poverty wasn't just a condition. It was marketed as a virtue. Meanwhile, the lords and bishops wore silk robes, drank imported wine, and dined on lamb. They were living the medieval version of soft luxury, while preaching sermons about humility and self-denial. Let's be real. When the people who tell you to give everything up are the same people collecting your taxes, something's off. The church wasn't just a spiritual institution, it was the biggest landlord in Europe. And by promoting the idea that less is holy, they kept the masses obedient, while stacking gold in cathedral vaults. Sound familiar? Be grateful, be content, don't ask for more, just give, pray, obey. Fast forward to the 1930s, the Great Depression. Now let's jump ahead 600 years. America, breadlines, Dust Bowl. 1 out of 4 people unemployed. People lost their homes, their savings, their futures. So what did the government do? They didn't just offer soup kitchens, they offered ideology, a whole campaign called Make Do With Less. It was everywhere, radio, posters, billboards. Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. It was catchy, it was noble. It also covered up a brutal truth. There wasn't enough to go around. They weren't teaching financial discipline. They were sugarcoating collapse. People weren't skipping meals because they discovered stoicism. They were skipping meals because there was nothing on the shelf. But by reframing scarcity as a virtue, those in power avoided blame. They turned desperation into patriotism. If you struggled, it meant you were strong. If you suffered, it meant you were moral. And if you asked for help, you were weak. So the next time someone says minimalism is good for the soul, ask, is it really a choice, or is it just the same old story dressed up in a clean modern font? Because when the powerful preach simplicity while hoarding wealth behind the scenes, it's not minimalism. It's manipulation with better lighting. Part 2, Frugality versus Forced Scarcity. Are you really free to choose? Minimalism sounds noble. Frugality sounds wise, but let's get honest for a second. Are we really choosing it, or is the system quietly choosing it for us? Modern scarcity, rebranded as wisdom. In 2025, minimalism isn't just a lifestyle, it's a survival mechanism. Rents are soaring. Grocery bills look like car payments. Credit card APRs are pushing 30%. And suddenly, millions of Americans are downsizing, not because they want to live with less, but because they simply can't afford more. When you cut back because you're broke, it's called struggle. When you cut back because you read it on a lifestyle blog, it's called intentional living. Let that sink in. Real-life example, Lauren from Ohio. Let's talk about Lauren. Single mom, 2 kids, works full-time at a hospital. She used to grab takeout a few times a week just to keep her sanity. But in the last 12 months, her rent jumped $400 a month. Groceries, up 20%. Gas, don't even ask. So what did she do? She meal prepped. She canceled Netflix, Spotify, Disney+, even her gym membership. She started shopping secondhand. She stopped going out. And when friends praised her for being so disciplined, she smiled. But behind that smile, exhaustion, anxiety, burnout. Lauren didn't become frugal, she became trapped. The illusion of control. We love to celebrate people who live below their means. But let's ask a better question. Are their means shrinking faster than their choices? Because here's the truth. Not everyone who lives a minimalist lifestyle is empowered. Some are just adapting to a system that's quietly pushing them to the edge. The illusion is this. You think you're making a wise choice, but really you're just adjusting to economic pressure. And guess who benefits? Not you, not Lauren, but the corporations who get to say, look how resilient Americans are. Minimalism is empowering when it's voluntary. But when it's survival dressed up as virtue, that's not wisdom, that's manipulation. Part 3, Modern Marketing, Minimalism for the Rich, Austerity for the Poor. Let's talk about the modern minimalist movement. Not the one where you're trying to pay off debt, the one that shows up in glossy magazines and influencer reels. Instagram versus reality. On Instagram, minimalism looks like this: a crisp white living room, a single eucalyptus branch in a $300 vase, furniture with no handles, no clutter, no personality, just clean lines. But here's what they don't show you. The couch costs $7,000, the rug, imported, and the open space. Yeah, that's $5,000 month in rent just for the Zen vibe. Now compare that to real life. Take someone scraping by in a studio apartment in Detroit or Dallas, barely making rent. They've got one table, two chairs, no TV, and no Wi-Fi. Is that minimalist aesthetic, or just survival without the filter? One man's $3,000 Scandinavian chair is another man's folding table from Goodwill. Let's be honest, it's not the same minimalism. Minimalism has become a brand. What started as a philosophy, live simply so others may simply live, has been co-opted by marketing departments. Today's minimalist brands are selling $120 plain white t-shirts, essential $90 hand soaps, $40 minimalist journals with blank pages. We've gone from needing less to needing expensive less. And here's the kicker, it's all being sold to you as freedom. But is it? Or is it just another way to sell the illusion of control to the middle class, while keeping the working class stuck? The Great Divide. For the wealthy, minimalism is an option. Right arrow, they choose it after accumulating abundance. For the rest of us, minimalism is often a necessity. Right arrow, we downsize because we can't keep up. The rich pay to escape clutter. The poor are told their clutter is failure. Minimalism has become a brand, a luxury choice for the few, and a coping mechanism for the many. So the next time you see a clean kitchen with nothing on the counters and a caption that says, "Less is more," just remember, less is only more when you already have enough. Part 4, How to Reclaim Minimalist Finance Without Falling for the Trap. Okay, so we've seen how minimalism can be twisted, marketed, even weaponized. But does that mean we throw it all out? Not at all. Let's talk about how to take back minimalist finance and actually make it work for you. Tool 1, intentional spending, not just spending less. Minimalist finance isn't about restriction. It's about precision. It's not about being cheap. It's about being clear. Ask yourself before every purchase, is this helping me build the life I want, or just numbing me from the one I have? Intentional spending means you cut things that don't matter to you, not to society. You keep the things that truly bring you value, guilt-free. Example, if you love your $5 latte every morning and it brings you joy, keep it. But if you're spending $75 a month on 3 random streaming services you barely use, cut it. That's minimalist finance. Tool 2, debt-free first, aesthetic later. There's nothing wrong with wanting a beautiful space, but too many people fall into the trap of buying the minimalist vibe instead of building financial stability. Don't buy the $800 simple desk from Instagram if you're still paying off 22% credit card debt. Focus on paying off high-interest loans, avoiding lifestyle inflation, not trying to look minimalist before you're truly financially free. Minimalism isn't a look, it's a leverage tool. Tool 3, emergency fund equals real minimalism. If you want true simplicity, start with this, a $1,000 emergency fund. That's it. It won't make you rich, but it will keep you from spiraling when your tire blows out, your kid gets sick, or your fridge dies. Minimalism isn't just white walls and neutral tones. It's knowing a $500 problem won't ruin your month. One simple account, one simple rule, touch it only for emergencies. That's real freedom. That's real peace. Mindset shift, prioritize, don't punish. Real frugality isn't about denying yourself. It's about prioritizing yourself. It's saying no to consumer pressure so you can say yes to long-term goals. It's cutting clutter not because it looks cool, but because it clears space to think again. Summary takeaway, spend on purpose. Ditch the aesthetic hype. Build a cushion, own your choices, because when you choose minimalism, it can be powerful. But when minimalism chooses you, you're just surviving someone else's system. And it's a big but only when it's a choice. Because the moment you're forced into it, when you cut back not out of empowerment but out of exhaustion, it stops being a philosophy and starts being a survival strategy dressed up in clean lines and buzzwords. Quick recap. Minimalism has deep roots, many of them darker than you think. It's been used throughout history to justify inequality and mask scarcity. Today, it's a lifestyle for some and a lifeline for others. But when you reclaim it on your terms, minimalist finance can help you cut through the noise and build a life that's not just cheaper but smarter. Something to think about. The next time someone tells you to just live with less, ask yourself, is this wisdom or is this a cover-up for a broken system? If you've ever felt like you were forced into frugality, if you've ever had to pretend cutting back was your idea, when really it was just your only option, then this message is for you. Like and share this video if it hit home. Comment below, is your minimalism a choice or survival? And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden side of money, power, and how it all affects your financial future. Because here on the Budget Boss US, we don't just follow the money, we ask who's controlling it and why.